Okay, so let's start. Right, so I'm going to share the screen. I think most of you were in part of the first one. And if I remember rightly, you were all on board for the first workshop. So all I'm going to do with regards to this is fly through. If anybody's got any questions, please ask them. But I'm basically just going to, come on, you can move. Thank you. So I believe you've all seen this, is that correct?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I came in late, so I'm not quite as familiar as everyone else, but I saw most of it.
Okay, so this is basically just what we do with regards to setting up the promotion for the newborn part, leading up to, and everything that we do in contacting the clients, doing the marketing, etc., etc. So this is where we're up to now, ladies and gents. So we're now up to what happens after we've got the clients paid their deposit, booking deposit, whatever you want to call it, and they're going to come in. Can you all see the screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
The gin.
No, in gin. Right. So I need, if I can, to try and see you as well. So around a week before the floating date, we text the client to see if the floating date is still correct, i.e. has the baby arrived yet? Are you due for a fixed date due to various medical reasons, etc., etc.? Really what we're doing is we're trying to find out as to when we can fix them down, as to when we can confirm a date for them, rather than it just being a floating date. So obviously if baby hasn't arrived, we ask them, wish them all the best and ask them to contact us as soon as possible. We've got all these floating dates at the top of our calendar diary. So they're not a booked appointment, they're at the very top under just that day. Now, if they don't come in on that day, we move them on a week. So the next week, we know they're still due to come in, etc., etc. So we never let them go. We're always in contact with them, but we always know we've got approximately any 1 week of how many should be coming in on that week. So if babies arrive, we book a session for them. Now, the way we're operating at the moment, due to health situation and also COVID, is we're only doing 3 sessions a day. The large session in the morning we keep for newborn babies, and we do 2 other sessions around that, which will be anything else. So we've always keep and don't book what we call our newborn slot every morning, or our future newborns, floating newborns, etc. Quite often we have more than we need and we have to fit them in at some other time. On odd occasions we don't, and that's when we book in other things such as large family shoots or boudoir shots of men over the age of 70 with white hair.
I'm not 70 yet.
Under 70 with white hair.
Thank you for aging me.
I thought you were out of work, not working this Christmas, you see, people. That's what I was thinking it was, right? So basically, we know in advance by running these promotions approximately how many clients we're going to have coming in each week and definitely each month, and up to a period of 4 months in advance. Come on, move. You can move when you want to, you can move. Thank you. But so after we've spoken to the parents and booked a date and time for the session, we always try to cover newborn sessions in the morning, which I've talked about. The reason for that is that we find it's the best time for newborn babies. They're more likely to be asleep in the morning after a feed, which enables us to do the type of pictures that we want to do. We do them in the afternoon, but they're always a lot harder work in the afternoon due to lack of sleep, or they've had enough sleep, or whatever the case happens to be. We send them an email and text confirming their session. This is all done through Studio Cloud, and they obviously will run 48 hours before the session as well as a reminder. As part of the whole process, we send them a product price list along with other various different marketing things and a Q&A sheet. One of the Q&A sheet, one of the questions which is fairly strong on this is asking the parents not to feed the baby within 30 to 45 minutes of coming in. So quite often the baby's screaming when it comes in through the door. That's absolutely fine because we know we can calm it down in the studio. But this is the process that we go through, and I'm not in any way saying this is a process that anybody's got to do. This is just what works for us. Helen greets the clients.
Alan, sorry, before
Can I just
you...
say, Alan? Sorry, what I was... Go on, Peter, you go first.
I had a question when you said it's okay, we can calm the baby down in the studio, but I didn't understand how.
You in a minute.
Okay.
Judith?
Yeah, what I was going to say is when I've booked them in, I haven't had any more contact with them before them coming in, but actually contacting them a week before that date is a really, really good idea, because it's also cementing and building up that little bit more of a relationship with them. And I think it's also letting them know that you do care and you are ringing them to see not just how they are, but, you know, they still haven't had their baby, but to move it on. And I just think that shows how flexible and how approachable you can be, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's all part of the process of getting them to trust you, isn't it? I mean, it's just, you know, it's basically I can tell you everything I'm going to do in a minute, and you just put that into any promotion. It's exactly the same. It doesn't matter. You know, you've got to be friendly. If you've got somebody coming in for boudoir, horse, pets, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. It's just that what I'm going to run through here is what we've learned, a little few tricks that work for us as regards to babies more than anything else. So Helen goes out and opens the door and lets them come in, has a chat to them, explains about our COVID station and asks them to hand sanitize, and we get them all to use the NHS app, making sure that that is part of the process. Whilst Helen is going through all this, I'm out the back wasting time, waiting to come through. When Helen has done this, I deliberately then walk out through clutching a hot water bottle to my chest, showing the hot water bottle. And what I do then is I ask them, after introducing myself and various different things, ask them to take little one out and put the hot water bottle in the pram. Again, this is going back to what you're saying, Judith, of caring. The process of, you know, helping them to relax, showing that we're thinking of baby as much as we possibly can do. Whilst I'm doing all this, it's a bit of a pattern. It's the same old jokes and various different things. But I'm turning around and talking to them about, you know, how are they, how's little one sleeping at night, blah, 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 without saying that you look absolutely terrible and the bags are touching the body. So you notice all these things. I
hope you don't offer them anti-wrinkle cream.
But basically, you're just warming them up, keeping them relaxed and that type of thing, because, you know, they are a bit nervous. They're coming into a place with their brand new baby, and at these times, probably even more than any other, they're more scared of, you know, introducing their young one to the world, really, and certainly to strangers that they've never met. So it's a period of time of making yourself approachable and trustworthy. Whilst I'm doing this, behind me on the wall are great big prints, and I really mean big prints, 4 foot by 3 foot and things like that, of various different types of sessions, of which 2 are newborn types of pictures. One is specifically a standard shot that I start every newborn session off with, and I always end up pointing behind me, this is the type of thing we're going to be doing when we go through. We discuss what's going to happen as regards to being in the studio re-COVID, etc., so that everybody knows what's going on. And then we start to lead them through the studio. Now, the way our studio is you've got a reception. You walk through the reception into the viewing room, through the viewing room into a long office, and at the end of the office, you go into the studio. as we go through the viewing room, there's always another newborn picture up on the screen that they're looking at as they pass. So you're subtly showing them different things that's going on. But when we arrive in the studio, the parents automatically see the first setup already up. I've set it up, I've got it already for the baby of the colors that we know that the baby is. We found that out previously. And there's a hot water bottle warming the area that the baby will go in. So just another thing that they're seeing that we're looking after baby. We've also got a baby station where the baby will be undressed, and there's another hot water bottle on there. So basically the way it goes then is I am talking to them all the time about the different types of pictures and the fact that the baby will be completely undressed. I ask if the baby's asleep, then obviously they undress the baby, and if baby stays asleep, we carry on completely. If baby's awake and distressed or gets distressed whilst being undressed, then they feed the baby. It's not a problem. This is all part and parcel of the timings that it takes.
What sort of temperature do you have the studio?
It's probably at about 25 to 28 degrees.
Oh, pretty warm then.
Very warm.
Yeah.
It's that warm specifically because of the baby. With the baby being undressed, you don't want it to suddenly get cold and so on.
So you're in your trunks then?
Pretty much so. Yeah, it's not a nice sight. But then they're behind me most of the time, so I'm better looking from behind than I am from the front. That's for them. So basically, what I'm saying is a couple of stages to get the baby relaxed whilst undressed. And if this takes feeding, that's not a problem. If this takes breastfeeding, that's not a problem. I just leave the room, and when they're finished, winding, etc., I come back in. But all the
how much the shoot time normally do you book out for this?
A total of 2 hours.
Right.
From beginning to end.
Okay.
So I'm always handing them something that's warm, not just a material. It's always warmed in some way. So when baby is ready to go for the first set of pictures, I'm talking now rather than reading what I'm saying here. This is how we get the baby from distress, Peter, is we feed it, and it goes to being asleep and sort of slightly milk drunk, etc., etc. The parents are offered free tea and coffee. We have the machines with every coffee you can imagine. We even have to have decaf because lots of people are on that. So you just make sure you've got everybody's requirements. When baby's ready to shoot, we then start to look at it. So I then put on a pair of white gloves, and I take baby and put baby in place of where the actual hot water bottle was on my first setup. And then I then put that hot water bottle in one of my props that I'm going to be using very soon.
Is the white gloves something you've done for COVID, or do you always do it?
No, I always did it.
Right.
Always did it. I only do it for the very first time. It's just a bit of a show. After that, my hands are warm enough anyway, because as you say, I'm in trunks.
I hope they don't confuse you with a conjurer and you're about to make their baby disappear.
Because I've got trunks on, I can't hide it anywhere, Peter. So basically, this is more about the workflow and the progression of what we do. All that we do is about the sale. Without the couple knowing, it's all linked to the sale at the end of the day. And sort of feeding them information as we go, getting them involved, etc., etc. Now, as regards to a session, myself personally, I know exactly what I'm going to be taking at that session before the people walk in. I know the sex of the baby, and I know the type of pictures that I'm going to be taking because of the size of the baby, etc., etc. The only thing that will alter might be the different materials, wraps, a couple of other props, depending on the parents, that type of thing. But generally for a baby shoot, I've got my total workflow set out so that I can go through these pictures in less than 20 minutes with no problem at all. Because I know a baby I can probably only keep asleep by moving it from various different things for that period of time. And so therefore you've got to work relatively quickly. So I've got all my props and everything else set out in an order that when I've done one shot, I go straight to another. It's already pre-warmed, etc., and so on.
I'm sorry to interrupt again, but what do you do if the baby's awake? Do you knock it on the head to make it sleep, or?
Okay, 2 tips that have worked for me for a long, long time. I'm very lucky with my voice. It sounds like a lady's voice. So I can talk to the baby and coo it and stand in front of it and pretend, hang on a minute, Steve's come, and pretend I'm a mum, but they can't see me hit the baby with a little hammer. But mainly, I won't start the session until the baby is relaxed.
Right.
I was thinking chloroform.
If baby is awake, I'm not bothered as long as baby is calm.
Yeah.
The only thing I will stop is if baby is stressed, and then it probably needs more milk or whatever the case happens to be. But when they're very young, I can't do anything about it.
No.
When they're about 2 weeks old, I can actually take control and calm a baby down quite easily with no problem of stroking it on. And a hairdryer, I have found, is the best trick, without a doubt. Having the hairdryer on is one, the baby's body is another. Flashing it in front of its face is the one that really works. It really, really works, Peter. It seriously does. Because the baby sort of has to stop doing what it's doing because it has hot hair. And
Right.
because the hot air is coming on its face, it closes its eyes and
Gotcha.
slowly calm it down.
Yeah.
Send it to sleep, but it calms it down.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do, is just calm the baby down, get the baby relaxed. Okay, so I've gone a bit here. When I've taken the first picture, I always show parents the back of the camera with the first picture, always. It makes them feel they're part of the whole situation, and it enables them to see their baby is going to look the same as the pictures that they've seen on the wall, etc., etc. This is a big process of building trust. I learned this with weddings years and years and years ago. One of the first things I always used to do when I was doing the pictures of the bride and groom on their own, with the old cameras up or tripod, look down over the top, cape over the top, great big flag, bang, is I used to set the bride up and then get the groom to look at the picture he was taking, because he would look at the great big overall picture of everything, whereas we go looking in square boxes or whatever. That was something I learned from a long, long time ago. So if you show your clients one of the pictures you've taken on the back of the camera, they immediately feel engaged in what you're doing. Hi, Steve.
Hiya, sorry, a bit late.
No problem, mate.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. So going back to the types of pictures that I take and so on, I have a set plan of 7 or 8 totally different types of pictures. But in each set, I probably have at least 3 or 4 variety of different shots. So either if it's a baby on a table and a little bit of foam cut out, for instance, there's different wraps, or there's different hats, or there's different teddies or whatever. If they bring in a significant teddy, you always use that. If not, then I've got little teddies, or I've got little dogs, or I've got little rugby balls or little footballs, or different things like this that you can use to involve the parents in the pictures.
Are you doing much to change the lights in that process when you move from one to the other?
I fiddle with the lights to make it look as though I am, but I never do.
Okay.
The only thing I tend to do, Peter, is I've got the lights fairly high for my table setup that I start off with, and then I drop them down to something in the region of about 2.5, 3 feet high off the floor for everything that's on the floor basis. So that's the biggest one I do. And every now and again I get up and I fiddle around with the background lights, turn them on and off, and I'll move the front ones at a slightly different angle. Generally, I don't alter it at all. Again, that's all for show. So whilst I've finished the first set of pictures, I always pass baby back to mum, wrapped up in another warm blanket, whilst I dismantle the first setup completely and get the next 3 or 4 props ready. The next one for me is always a case, an old suitcase, which I've lined with foam and a very warm white material. And I get that out, put it on the floor, turn on the hairdryer and put it in to warm that up. While I'm doing that, and that always brings some form of conversation because the parents suddenly see a hairdryer come out, etc. I'm then warming my next set of props with various different things, whether that's a hot water bottle or whether it's a small heated fan heater or whatever, but I'm heating the next set of props. When I'm ready, I go over to mum and I take a blackboard, which I've got written, and I've got a chalkboard that I ask mum to write baby's first name, birth weight, and then there's blocks which show the date of birth, which we use for in one of the pictures of the props. I always get them to write this because it's their writing, and quite often they do a kiss or heart or something like that. So it's very significant. I've found that the more you get a person involved in the pictures that's being taken, the more likely they are to purchase them, because they've had involvement in those pictures. So without going into doing all the pictures that I do, because that's down to you, what you want to do in your studios, etc., I run through all the pictures involving the baby on its own. If I am doing pictures within a basket, I will ask them which one of a couple of different wraps, or we've got scarves and different things like that that they would like baby wrapped in. So again, they are having input into the pictures. I find if they have input into the pictures, they can't say no. If I've had total control over the pictures, they can easily say no to it. So basically, I go through all the shots involving the baby that I want to do, involving the baby, giving them at least 7 or 8 different props, of which there's at least 2 or 3 different variations of each prop. So for instance, I do a stack of towels. You might have seen it, you might not. I do a baby on a stack of towels. Baby's all scrunched up on its front, stack of towels on its own, lovely upright picture. Then I just bring in a chalkboard beside it for name, date, birth, and that sort of thing. And then you've got a landscape picture using the stack of towels. So it's all flows very, very easily and quickly and that type of thing. I then, when it comes to finishing the pictures of the baby, move on to pictures involving the parents and little siblings or older siblings, whatever might be present. These, I tend to only do pictures of them looking at baby and showing the size of baby in relation to them, because I actually want to do family pictures at the next shoot or the shoot after that. I don't want to do them all on the one shoot, because I find if I do, they tend to spend very heavily on the first shoot and they don't come back because they're scared about spending. So I would much prefer to have a larger average sale 2 or 3 times than only a fairly good sale the first time and never get them to come back. And I explain this, I say, you know, we're working towards doing these different types of pictures. So when I'm finished, which is normally 25 minutes maximum, including all different pictures of parents, and that's using white backgrounds, black backgrounds, a whole multitude of things. That's only when I change the lighting around videos, when I put black backgrounds down. And make it look, you know, totally different and that sort of thing. So they've got a whole variation of pictures. I mentioned I'm finished, and is there anything else that they would like taken? By then, they're absolutely shattered. They're sweating because they've got clothes on and I haven't. And they're ready to finish, basically. So the way things have now changed is that what used to happen is that they would get dressed, make an appointment to come back and view the pictures. Now, because of COVID, I go and work on the pictures on a very quick edit. They finish dressing the baby, stay in the studio most of the time, and when we're ready, we invite them through to the viewing room so that they can view the pictures before they leave. We found this is working very, very well. Some people already do it and did it before. We couldn't because of the way that we used to work, but it works extremely well for us.
How long does it take you, Alan?
I normally takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to edit the pictures, Morag.
Wow.
just to a stage of viewing. Not these aren't to a stage
Yeah.
of printing or selling. These are just to a stage of viewing.
Even a first edit for me takes me longer than that. That's brilliant. I've got to speed up. I used to be much faster. I struggle with speed now.
Again, all my shots are taken with the same setup, Maura. It's very, very easy to do a quick edit. 80% of these shots are taken with a white background, which is extremely quick to edit.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is basically maybe just tidying up a little bit here, that type of thing. What I do is I always make one or two of them into black and white, a soft focus one, for instance. Although this can all be done in Pro Select most of the time, but it just gives them a number that they can view and that type of thing. So we basically ask the clients to relax, dress baby and wait, have another cup of tea and that sort of thing. And then we ask them to come through to the viewing room halfway through when I'm editing, really. Approximately halfway through when I'm editing. Now, they have to pass my workstation to get to the viewing room. And they sit down basically next to me, but with a wall up between the two of us. On the settee, Helen's always put a pack down with their name on it, which has got product list, price list, special offers, referral forms, and all that type of thing in it. That they can then view and look through whilst they're waiting for me to finish an editing. We generally chat to them a little bit, not all the time, because we want to, you know, we are busy, we're doing various different things, but we do involve them in that period. But I can hear everything they say. Now, I'll tell you this, but I don't like telling other people. I do hear everything they say. So it helps me help Helen with pre-selling, because I can hear what they're already saying. You can hear if they say, for instance, oh my God, I didn't realize it was going to cost us this. We've only got X to spend. And if they say that X, I will tell Helen, and then she knows she can work around that figure to not frighten them. Always work a bit higher, but not frighten them by going in at 2 or 3 times the price that they're expecting to pay. And you just get a general feel for what they are like as the whole process and the experience. I never used to like the word experience, but their experience of being in the studio, involved in the session, coming out and liking the pictures. And of course, they're seeing bigger versions on the wall around them of what it's just been photographed as. So I then work on the images. Helen, when I'm ready, Helen then goes through and she takes over completely. We find this works really well because we're a husband and wife business, and to have a lady involved always softens the approach big time. So it works very well. So we show the pictures on a 55-inch screen using Pro Select, which we find is just a brilliant tool. We've got a couple of tricks. Everybody's got tricks in selling. We're not hard sellers at all. We don't like to do the double glazing, but we do like to help people to spend money. You know, that's what we're in it for at the end of the day. But basically, we just have got little ways of getting to areas that we want to get to. So you were asking about pictures just a second ago. I normally take something in the region of, depending on how many people are involved, between 40 and 60 pictures that they will view. We go through the whole lot. Helen basically said, well, we'll go through them again now, where you can choose all your favorites, and obviously take out the ones that you don't like, leaving them with duplicates of some, but always far more than they would want. Normally, as I said, they're between 15 and 20 images. So at this stage that the selling process starts. Helen will then ask what the parents would like to do with their choice of image, which puts the decision back with them. She also explains to them about the baby scheme. You know, we want them to come in for another 2 and 3 second and third session. We don't want them to go away just on a one-off. So she explains that because they've come in under the newborn experience, they've got a chance to go on for the baby schemes, which is £49. And she explains what that is and shows them the frame pictures at the end of the day that they get. saying that this is normally £49, but if they wish to continue, we'd do it for £30 for them, which happens to be their booking deposit. Now, I know Julia struggles on this, but we get 99% say, yes, we'll carry on, and that's the booking deposit taken. So then Helen says, that's absolutely brilliant. We need to now look at your images to decide what you want, but one of them needs to be for the scheme, the first image for the scheme. And we find it's better that if you choose what you want to first and what's left, we choose one of them for the scheme. So that is a way of saying to them that they're not going to purchase all the pictures left up on the wall, that there's a choice of what they want. But then Helen goes through and explains what's on offer. So we've obviously got albums, prints, images, etc., etc. But the first question she really asks them is, what do they want to do? I'm sure you all know this from your own selling and so on. We've changed to the fact that we don't necessarily want to do frame prints and prints anymore, because we're looking at retiring in the next year or so. So I'm not worried about my name being up on the wall of everybody's house now, as we used to be. We want the quickest way, the quickest process. So we sell high-res images a lot more than we ever used to. And we find it extremely quick and easy to say to them, are you thinking about presents for people? If you are, then high-res images is the way to go, because you can have as many images off of as many prints off of one option, one image as you want, and it's far more cost effective. And that way we're making far more profit.
What do you charge for high res?
£75 for one.
Okay.
300 for 5 and 350 for 10. Helen then helps them choose their favorite pictures into whatever they're going to be doing. And as I say, we're now at probably 90% of people go high-res images. And it makes it so much quicker and easier and far more profitable for us. So once they've gone through that, choosing their high-res image and so on, I tend to pop out and make it as if I haven't heard anything that's going on, and look at the number of images they've got. If they've chosen 10 and they've got 12 up there and they can't decide what to do, I say, oh, go on, Helen, just give them the other 2 free of charge. And they just love it, because you're giving them something totally different. And the other thing is that this particular promotion comes with a print, a free print. If they're buying high-res images, we always give them that as a high-res image and not a print, which makes it more value. We're making more profit out of it because we're not having to have a print printed. So basically, the whole selling process is taken into whatever you want it to be. If this had been 3 years ago, I'd have been selling far more large frame prints and triples and various different things like that, because that's what we wanted. That's what we were selling then, because we wanted to go on the wall, because it adds to our branding that, you know, more people with our name on the wall in our local area is all advertising. So take full payment by card and book their next session in, because they've signed up for the baby scheme. I then show the parents out, chatting, etc., various different things, making sure I take the hot water bottle out the pram. This is all part of the whole process that we're looking at, keeping baby, looking after baby, and so on.
You have to give them a cooling off period, Alan.
Do you, after they've viewed?
Yeah, well, after they paid.
What,
What,
before
cooling
they
off
leave?
period for the pram?
I go, we spent far too much money. I'm really worried about it. Do they ever come back and say,
No.
I think we bought too much? No?
No.
Okay, good.
No, because we always make sure that they're happy with what they're spending before they commit.
Yeah.
You know, we don't sort of say, right, this is going to cost X, you know, here, walk out the door, you know, are you sure this is what you want?
Yeah.
We explain that they probably won't be spending this again, although we hope they will be. So we're trying to make it all as comfortable for them as possible, but we make sure that they understand what they're spending they can afford.
Yeah, okay.
You know, we have never been into the case of high sales and not worry about them afterwards. So basically, when they've left, This is still within the 2-hour process. We're probably now down to an hour and a half, something like that. I then go back to my desk, work on the images and email them straight away. So they've quite often got them at home before they even get home. And also the other thing we do is I send them an image with a print release. That's as part of the whole thing that we send them. And also we've asked them if they're happy for us to put a picture on Facebook. This works really well because it keeps the progression. All the previous clients and upcoming clients see that we're regularly doing work, but it also helps with spreading our Facebook page because these new parents are just so happy to spread what they've had done with their family and friends. And it's a bit like COVID, it's new people, it spreads very fast. You're getting new clients and that sort of thing coming in all the time. So this is a copy of the print release form that I send. Send that to everybody who purchases high-res images from us. And I've got that set up on the computer and all I do is change the name and the date. And then save that as a JPEG and send that as part of the transfer on WeTransfer, along with a couple of other things, the logo and that type of thing and so on. This is what we show them and put in the pack that we put outside on the settee before they come for the viewing, which basically explains about the baby scheme. So they know about it before we talk to them about it. It's there for them to see as to what's on offer. So when Helen says, you know, we can offer you this for your deposit, they already know that it's to a higher value already.
When you, just to go back a minute, Helen, when no, it's before that, you'd have to change the slide. You said you did a light edit before they viewed it. And then you said that you send the pictures out before they've got home.
Yeah, I edit them, I re-edit. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I properly work on the images that have been purchased.
Right.
So I will get them up to what I would call print quality. So everything is cleaned up, any blemishes on the skin, not any blemish, but big blemishes on skins taken off, etc., etc. If they've had, and some babies have them, big spots on their face, milk spots or something like that, then I would take 1 or 2 of those off of the first edit to show the parents what the pictures can look like with the spot removed. But I won't take things like that off of every image because it takes too long.
Yeah.
But I do it on 1 or 2, specifically on close-up shots. I will always make one of the close-up shots all but perfect, so that they can see what those pictures look like if they were to purchase them and so on.
Okay.
Generally, it's really a clean-up of the background, making sure everything is right, etc., etc. You know, sometimes we all make mistakes. We leave like a lead in on the left-hand side of the shot or something like that from the hairdryer, where you just obviously admit that and so on. Now, I've been thinking heavily this weekend about this promotion and other people running it. And the next couple of slides are what I've come up with in conclusion as to why this works well for me and maybe might not work for everybody else. I don't think it's just down to the actual promotion. I think it's down to lots of other things. So I need to just put a little bit of history into the background of what we are. So we've literally incorporated years and years of learning of what you have to do to market for baby promotions into this NBorn art experience promotion. It's not just something I've come up with, it's something that has taken a long time to get to over a period of time of what works and what didn't work and so on and so on. Now, you probably all know about Emma's Diary leads, the same as Cherub's Fast and so on. We've taken Emma's Diary leads for around about 15 plus years now. And for the first 10 years, they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. The quality of the customers, the spends, and the high amount of people we used to get signing up was really, really good. But in the last 5 or 6 plus years, both have dropped off. The quality of the leads, the number of the leads, and the spends that we were getting from clients coming in. So the whole thing was going the wrong way. We seriously looked at this problem about 2 years ago as what we could do. And I said then that we can't carry on with Emma's Diary because we're not making enough money from it. We were making money, but not making enough from what the time that was spent on it. And we had to replace it with something. Hence, we've come up with, obviously, the baby schemes, which everybody knows about, which is the Baby Portrait Club, had in place from 5 years ago. And also, we worked on the newborn promotion in our studio to replace the. Now, can you all see this? I need to explain where we are as we're trying to do, or what we wanted to do regarding this promotion. In the last 5 years, we were averagely spending about £500 a month on ED leads. That includes purchasing them, marketing them, posting them, printing everything to do with it, etc., etc. Wages for paying Rachel that used to deal a lot with this in getting all this done. We used to get around 10 to 14 a month, which was probably half of what we used to get originally. So the cost of the clients was going up and the average spend was only about £150 each. Now that's not too bad because that's the one-off. They were coming in another second and third time that we were getting spends from it. But in the cold light of day, you're looking at paying for the data when you've had it, and that's where we were. So we were only getting a profit of about £1,300 a month, less the cost of whatever the products that we sold. Fine, because it wasn't the only thing that we were doing, but it wasn't also paying its way, really. So by running the newborn promotion, we're now only spending £40 per 3 or 4 months for an average amount of clients of about the same, but they're spending nearly double what we were getting from Emma's Diary clients. So the cost of running these promotions has dropped dramatically. The cost of what they're spending nearly doubled. So now we're at a figure that is far better as regards to a monthly sort of return.
So Alan, are you only having 15 winners?
Sorry?
Are you only having 15 winners?
Oh.
You said there are 12 to 15 clients, or is that just on average?
No, I have 1 winner and about 60 runners up.
Right, so you've just taken them figures on average of 12 to 15 then.
Yeah, so basically, going back to the first part of this, we've had at least 60 people reply and come in from each of the promotions that we've done. Some have been well over 100. The one just before COVID was 120. We lost a lot during COVID, unfortunately. Yeah. But I'm talking here that we have 1 winner and then everybody else is a runner-up, and then it's dependent on how many come in. But we get on average between sort of 12 to 15 newborns a month.
Yeah. Out of my competitions, just so the others know that haven't done it yet, I had 178 entries. I had 1 outright winner. By the time I'd taken out the double ups and the ones that I thought were too far to travel, ones that I thought were time wasters who'd already inquired how much prices were, I got it down to about 134. The outright winner, her baby's due in 4 or 5 days' time. I then emailed the other 133 as runners-up. And I think we've now got about 75 of them booked in. But they are between now and, well, obviously I had to cancel some of them with being bad. But they go right up till the end of March.
Amazing, Judith.
Just so anybody that hasn't done it, it gives you an idea that it does fill your diary up.
I want to come on to those numbers in a minute, if that's all right, Judith.
Yeah, and what I was going to say as well, sorry, Alan, is they have all paid a £25 booking fee as well.
Yeah.
Even the winner.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But what I'm getting at is we only work 3 days a week now, and we only do 3 sessions a day. I only want to do 1 newborn a day. So the 12 clients is my perfect number per month. 15 is fine because there's Saturdays and things like that. So you run this as strong as you want to run it. If you're working 6 days a week, then obviously you'll probably want larger numbers than I'm getting. So you'll then want to go more on Judith's numbers rather than my numbers. So you look at it in totally different ways. Now,
Sorry,
yeah,
can
go
I ask
on,
a
Mike.
quick question? Sorry to, I know you went over this last time and I haven't rewatched the video, but I missed the beginning of it last time. So the prize itself is whatever you want to give them, a big frame, a shoot, whatever. So it's worth something big. And what about the runners-up then? What do they get?
The way I do it is that the winner gets the newborn session,
Yeah.
a 10 by 8, and a 20 by 24 frame print or thereof, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that the value of the prize is 400, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
All the runners up get a newborn session and a 10 by 8 print.
Okay.
All right. So they're still getting a value, hence why they're all happy at being a runner up. But like Judith just said, and I did go through this that's why I didn't go over it again, take out duplications, take out time wasters, etc. I have now found, after running this, that we get something in the region of about 65 to 70% people sign up from the total number that enter.
That's excellent.
So again, depending on the numbers, time of the year, etc., etc. I mean, we know already that we are going to be so busy after Christmas with COVID babies, because we've already seen our floating dates and so on. So there's a tremendous amount, you know, that is still out there for after Christmas.
Yeah.
I wanted to run through this because I know Steve has done this and he hasn't done that well. What are you up to now, Steve?
Just eight entries.
Okay.
In just about a week, I guess it's been running. It started on the 5th of October. I'm just looking at the ad now. As you know, you've seen it. It's with a few little. It's much the same as you have done, and is the landing page very similar. Just don't seem to be getting the numbers, so I don't quite know what that is.
Have you boosted it yet, Steve?
Oh yeah, boosted it right from the start.
Yeah.
Okay. I think what I'm going to say next is going to be quite one of the reasons as to why the numbers vary across the members. And I wanted to sort of put this down. I'm not going to say everything is right, Steve, because it isn't. But I just wanted to go over this a little bit as regards where we've been. You and I are very similar in time being in business. So some of this is going to, link to you. So we stopped taking ED leads during lockdown, but because of the contract, you still have to take 2 months. There was a large number, I can't remember when it was, but it cost us well over £700, and we only had one reply from those leads. But we need to look at lots of things. Now, we've been in business in Barnstaple for 35 years. We've been in the same studio location with a large window just off the busy street, very close to the high street, for 28 years. For the first part of this, we ran a very successful wedding business, covering weddings all over the UK and across Europe. So there's a large base of people that have got to know us in that period of time. So, they've had children, and then their children have had children, and so on. So a lot of that works. And we've been very, very busy for 15 years on the portrait side of the business. We're very well known in our area and in the Southwest. We've got a large following on Facebook, which I think is crucial. And over the years, we've been lucky enough to win lots of large national competitions as well, which obviously helps with free marketing in local papers and so on. We've used local radio stations, papers. We've supported lots of local charities, and we just make sure that our local public see us in lots of different ways other than just being a photographer. We have a tremendous amount of repeat businesses because for the last 30 odd years, I've made sure that every piece of work that we've ever sold has gone out with our name on it, specifically frame prints, so that most houses in this area have been, or most people in this area would have been in a house with a frame print of our name on it. Which works really, really strongly for anything that we do. I know we're lucky on that basis, but I think that's one of the reasons as to why we're successful in running promotions. All of this helps in running a successful promotion. because the local public know of us. We've been around a long time. We aren't just set up. We aren't working from home. There's nothing against people that do, but we've always been in one place, so they know where we've been. We're there. We'll probably lose a lot of people as well because we're old. I'm old. People want the younger people, etc., etc. But we've been around a long time and we can be trusted. And I think a lot of those things add up as to why sometimes we get the numbers. I was thinking about this morning, and I was thinking that, you know, Judith has got a large following on Facebook. I've got a relatively large following on Facebook, but therefore anything that we post goes out to quite a large number of people, which then can be spread. And I think this helps in the promotions that we both run, to be perfectly honest.
Just look at Steve's page now. He's not too bad. He's got 3,000 likers.
Yeah, I know. Go on, tell him, Steve.
Probably about 700 of those are what you would call official ones. The rest are people elsewhere in the world that just like to, you know, would like to know me. I think, you know. Yeah, it was just an experiment I did to see what would happen if I got loads of Facebook likes on there. I think it has actually made a bit of difference, but you know, on the basis that more than half of those are people that will never be customers. You know, you've got to take that with a pinch of salt, really, that number.
Have you got much of a database? Like previous customers?
Yes. I must have been. It's just me here by myself most of the time. It kind of doesn't get dealt with particularly well because there's always something else to do. That was another
thing I was going to come on to, Steve, is the fact that I know it works two ways. I know I've had to be busy to employ or have Helen working alongside me and Rachel, but obviously by being that busy, you can do more and keep up with more. So, you know, a single person, it's harder to run things at the level that sometimes we've done. And you know, I don't know how Judith does it, but that Judith is something totally different from us. That's why she's got red hair, but doing it all. But so there are different things that you can and can't do depending on the amount of people that are working for you, etc., etc. So, but what I did realise is that we are very busy and active on our Facebook page. This is something that I've sort of remembered over the weekend in getting ready for this, is that, you know, we will post 95% of the time, we will post a photograph on Facebook from the session that we do. That gets a lot of interaction from the people involved with their family and friends. And we regularly get something between 1,000 and 1,200 views per picture we put up, and quite a lot of likes and comments and things like that. This is all helping with spreading the word. During the months that we don't run these promotions, I do run mini ads, but I don't spend much money on them at all. But promoting the NBorn experience at £95, so showing that it is normally £95, but if they enter the competition, obviously they've stand a chance of getting it for nothing or winning the main prize, as well as adverts for the Baby Portrait Club and gift vouchers. We do a tremendous amount of gift vouchers from people that want to buy presents for work colleagues, family, friends, etc., that are having a baby. They want to give a present and they come to us and want to buy gift vouchers. And of course, gift voucher buys a product at the top price. So, you know, we sell a lot of that as well. So the 12 to 15 is a minimum number that we do of newborns a month. It is always much higher than that because others come in from different aspects as well.
Did you ever give vouchers away to people who were coming in for the viewings, that if they gave you a recommendation to somebody, you'd give them a discount on some wall art or something?
We've got a referral scheme that we work and have run for a long time, Peter, where if a client refers somebody to us and they come in, we give them £25 to spend. Basically, if they do that 5 times, we give them a free meal, a top-class restaurant. So we have a referral scheme that benefits them, but we don't do it big time. We do give away gift vouchers to schools and fetes and fairs and charities and various different things on that, businesses and so on, that brings in other aspects of work. But around the newborn, we basically keep it to, we've got links with a baby shop, and we've got links with a sensory area as well. Plus we've got links with 2 or 3 newborn sort of nurseries around the area as well, that we give them free vouchers. But to be honest, we don't get a lot in from those vouchers, but we've got a lot going on. We've probably got about 15 or 20 different models out there that bring in maybe 3 or 4 a month. But it's all extra work of different types of work, not just babies, it's just everything involving with that. But one thing I did talk to Steve about this week is that whenever we're running the newborn promotion, I always have a different header on my Facebook. So I change the header on my Facebook quite regularly to represent if a promotion that I happen to be running at the time, or just to vary it with different types of pictures. So I don't keep the one header on my Facebook page for much longer than about 2 or 3 weeks. Making sure that that changes, because I find that that keeps interest in the page. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Alan, sorry, it's funny, but just time you've been talking there, I've wrote down a few things that I think that might help Steve. Steve, if you want to jot these down.
Yeah, come on.
One of the things is I put, the first one was, after looking at your page, Facebook header change regularly.
Sorry, I missed that. What did you say?
Your Facebook header, change it regularly. Don't keep the same one, just change it regularly. Like Alan's just said, if you're running the baby competition, maybe change it to baby images. Have a look and see if there's any baby 3D scan companies around where you are. Make contact with them, tell them about the competition, ask them if you can join up. You recommend them, they recommend you. Ask them if you can maybe do a sample of a large image for a wall, put your name on it. It might cost you for the price of the image, but anybody going in their place to have the 3D scan done is going to see that image on the wall.
I'm not familiar with what the 3D scan is.
It's like when a woman goes for a scan of a baby.
Oh right, so this is during pregnancy.
So it's a 3D scan, so you can literally see the shape of the baby. The private companies that run them, there is a national company which you won't get anywhere with, but just have a look and see if there's anywhere local that runs a smaller independent one.
Can I cut in there? Have you got an independent baby shop that sells prams and baby clothes and that type of thing, other than, Mother Care's not around anymore, but have you got one of those in your area, Steve?
Not immediately locally that I know of. Funny enough, I just did a commercial job yesterday for a lady who works from home, but she has a business with little tiny shoes for babies, not so they can walk in them, but shoes that they put on tiny babies before they start to walk. It's quite high-end sort of stuff that she does, so there's I just finished her pictures this morning, so she's somebody that I will get back in contact with and see if we can do something together. But as far as the shops go, no, in Brighton there certainly is, but that's only 5-6 miles away in Brighton, so I'd give that a try. What I was going to ask about I'm just looking at my boosted post at the moment, and Judith, what parameters did you put in? For instance, as you go up, it says what is your goal? It says automatic. Let Facebook select the most relevant goal based on your settings. You can opt for that. Did you create an audience specially for yours, or what did you?
Yeah, I don't know audience. I think my audience is 21 or 22. up to, I think, about 45.
Yeah.
I done, I think it was expectant parents. I'll have a look and see if I can send you what I put in.
That'd be good, yeah.
Because it's a
Alan,
while since
I
I've
think
done
you
it.
said that you just left it open-ended, didn't you, on yours?
No, I sort of slightly left it open-ended, but I also did a little sort of one where obviously it was expecting parents, etc., etc.
Yeah.
I extended the age because I found that by involving the silver-haired Peter-likes, look-alike people that are grandparents, they want to give gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And grandparents are great ones for, oh, look, my granddaughter's having, oh, look, send this link to them, blah, 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 and that type of thing. So quite often the 45 cutoff is probably right for parents, but not necessarily right for grandparents. I also sort of didn't put it just for females, I put it for males as well.
Yeah.
So I left it slightly open. I found that the more specified you make an audience, the harder it is to attract everybody because they don't all fill out the right criteria when they're signing up for their Facebook page and so on.
Yeah.
So I think on that, Peter, sorry, Steve, I think it's more a testing one. You know, the first time I ran the promotion, we did quite well, but nothing like as well as what we learned from it to where we are now. So I think that you learn from the first time you run a new promotion, and that can be dogs, children, horses, boudoir, what you certainly learn from the first attempt. And you look very closely at the data that comes in. Where are those people situated? What are they looking at? You know, where do they go? I know we really make people work for us. We really make people work for us. You know, we ask, do you want your picture on Facebook? What would I want that for? Well, we'll put it on Facebook and you can share it with your family and friends. Oh yeah, we'd love to do that, but you make sure they do it.
Yeah.
And when they share that image, doesn't matter what it's of, doesn't matter what you've taken, onto their Facebook page with your name on it, which is what I was trying to say to you the other day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to get your name, your logo bigger on the images that you post so that people can see it, and also make it hard for the clever ones to take out. Hence why on my Facebook posting, I've got a picture up, and then down the left-hand side, as you would look at it, are 3 logos representing 3 different things about that particular. So there's my logo, there's the NBorn logo, and there's the fact that I've won national awards, etc., etc. But over the picture, I put my name as well, so that people can't cut out those logos and just show their picture. But I also put the name over a part of the picture that's hard for them to take out as well.
Mm.
The clever ones that do use it then for their profile or share it and cut it and that sort of thing, I really struggle to take my name out of it. So that advertising is going on and on. And, you know, if one person shares it onto their page and they've got 150 likes, you don't know how many people are going to see that and look at it and then come looking for you.
Mm.
Thing about today's younger society, they're all social media active. So they, you know, they really want to show their pictures. I don't know whether Morag finds this with the boudoir, probably not quite so much, but they want to share pictures of their children professionally taken because they're much better than the pictures that they've taken themselves.
Even boudoir, everybody's asking for them as digital files. They want to put them on their profile and things, amazingly.
Yeah. So, you know, the more you get coming in, and this is, I mean, I've argued the toss about this, but lots of people say, oh, you shouldn't put so many pictures up. You shouldn't put as many pictures up. But we're putting the pictures up with a little talk about that session. We aren't selling what we're doing. We aren't saying, you know, if you want this, contact us. If you want this, contact us, or special offer. So these are what we call soft posts. So we do, you know, 3 soft posts a day.
Yeah.
And we will probably only do 1, what I call hard seller a week, maybe even 1 a fortnight. So our page is active and moving all the time with new pictures with different people that are linked to those pictures. So you build up. Now, one of the other things that I thought about, Steve, is that you probably need to, you know, ask people to like your page. So when you do a session, say I'd like to put a picture up, but will you like them?
Yeah, we do that.
Yeah. So that you actively start building your number of 700 plus up to 1,000. And like I said to you the other day, I deliberately worked out my number of followers and likes to the number of people that entered my competition. I did the same with Judith, and then I did the same with the people that you had. And I came up with numbers, as I sent to you the other day, that would be top end and middle end.
Yeah.
Middle end for you is only 10. So you're not that far off on 8. So, you know, maybe we're coming at this from a different angle for you, in that we need to get your followers up.
Yeah.
People entering, if you understand. And it's pointless spending money on more advertising. You've got to get your followers up. So, I mean, I don't know about, I'll ask now, more people follow your Facebook page?
Mine?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I've got about 1,000 or so on my main page, and then my boudoir page is quite new, so only about 150, 200, something like that.
Okay, but you've got about 1,200 approximately, maybe some crossovers, but you've got about 1,200 people that when you do a post, it goes out to 1,200 people that spread the word. So, you know, Steve, with you with 700, you know, you're probably looking at probably 15% of that are interested in what you're doing on that particular promotion.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is where we need to look at it. And Judith is successful because she's got so many people that follow her. And I think this is behind the scenes, because you and I are so similar in times of being in business, where we've been, et cetera, and what we've been doing. But the only major difference between you and I, well, apart from you're handsome and I'm not, is that I've got a lot, or maybe it's the other way around. I've got a lot more, I've got a lot more followers than you have, Steve.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, I'm not one saying my photography is better than yours and blah, 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 because it doesn't make a blind bit of difference.
No.
Because if people purchase your work, you're good enough for people to purchase your work. So I don't think the quality of what you do and what I do is anything into it. I just think it's the reach on Facebook numbers and that type of thing. So I think, you know, if you were to end up, I was thinking about, if you were to end up with 12 booked, I think that would be quite successful for your first one.
Yes, yeah.
But what you've got to do is you then got to pump that 12 heavily on Facebook afterwards. So that you're starting to get people talking about focus photography in your area to go to for your newborn pictures. And then hopefully when you run it again, you'll get double that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and all the time you're picking up likes and so on. So this promotion was about newborns, but I think it was mainly about talking about marketing generally, in how to run a promotion was the first part, whether you're doing horses, dogs, boudoir, children, it doesn't matter. Set up and run it. And then this second bit was more for me about my workflow in the studio, which is my workflow. Everybody else has got their own and what they do. And I'm never, ever going to tell anybody what they should do, because that's not what it should be. We've all got our own tips in selling, you know, and that type of thing. So it's a case of a promotion really more than a specific promotion.
Sure, yeah.
Steve, I've got four more for you at your list.
Are you off, Peter?
Judith, before we do that, I've got I'm so sorry, but thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Nice to see you.
Cheers, Peter. Bye, Jane.
See you later. Bye.
No, I'm staying.
Oh, you're
I'm waving
staying.
at Peter.
Oh, we all wave at Peter. Go on,
Steve, up here, we've got it's a franchise company, but it's baby sensory groups.
All right.
Now, some of these might not necessarily be for newborn baby competition, but obviously there's a lot of ladies in there that have just had a baby and could possibly be looking at a second baby. There's a company up here that I can't remember what they're called, something like Baby Sensory Limited, but they've got about 12 or 14 actual franchise groups.
Right.
The other one is mothers and toddlers groups in community centres, stuff like that. One that I've already spoke to you about is the getting into the parent networks and the selling groups on Facebook and posting in there. And the last one, are you a member of any networking groups?
No, I'm not.
No, right. Because, I mean, I'm a member of a couple of networking groups, and what I did was I made a poster, and to my friends on Facebook in Messenger, I just sent them a message saying, can you do us a favour? I've got a promotion on. Here's the link. Can you go on and like it and share it? And I've done this for a competition a couple of years ago, and it had something like 180 shares, because what was happening was, say, Alan seen it and share it. Two of his friends seen it and thought, oh, that must be good if he's sharing that, we'll share it. So it has a little bit of a knock-on effect. So even if you've got 10 close friends or 15 close friends on Facebook, that you can say to them, do us a favour, just pop on here, like this post and share it, and it might get your competition starting to go.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, cutting in as well. The share is important, but by the people that you want to share it, really. You know, if I share it, it's not going to do you any good.
No.
If you can get, but it looks good. That's the other thing. But getting people to like your post with a like or a heart or something like that is very, very strong.
I actually did share it the other day.
Yeah, I know.
I put a post up saying if any meeting, I have got family that live in Brighton, which was why I done it.
All right.
I then rang her and said, will you share this for us? I don't think she has, because I think she's been at work all the time. But I do actually have, I've got two cousins that live in Brighton. So I was hoping that they would have seen it and would have shared it. One's an architect and the other one's a nurse, so probably no good for you. But if they share it, brilliant.
Yeah, you never know. You never know.
Yeah, you've got to watch that though, Steve, because they could have COVID, because any part of Judith's family has got COVID. So just you know, watch what you're doing.
COVID free now. I've even got the temperature thing exactly forehead.
Yeah. So basically, to wrap it all up, have you got any questions?
Just one. Well, we've got one question. When you guys that have run this, Alan and our beer monster, have you just boosted it the once, or because they always bring up this thing, saying why not boost this ad again? I just wonder whether boosting it and changing the audience might help.
You're in an area that you're testing, Steve. So you know, I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't have to, but then I see no reason why you shouldn't, as long as you don't go spending silly money on it. You know, if you wanted to, when it come to the end of its term of 7 days or something like that, boost it for another 3 on a different audience and see. Yeah. I do know that I do go around and share it into lots of local groups, community groups, bring and buy sales. Some people think that only brings cheap people, but it doesn't matter. If they're going to come in and pay, you know, it doesn't matter where they come from. And that helps because more people see it. And as soon as a couple of people comment or like it on a particular page, it stays there high, and so that works. And I tend to do that probably 3 times in 10 days. I run the competition. So there's a lot of free marketing going on after you've paid for the boosting. But I personally don't spend a lot of money on boosting, but it might work for you. But I think if you could get yours to 12 plus on your first one, Steve, knowing the numbers that we're talking about for you, that actually would be quite good. Admittedly, it's only 3 a month for 4 months, but that's 3 good sessions. It's probably going to bring you in good money. You know, for 3 months, and you can learn from it, and then, you know, let's hope that you get better on your next one. And certainly people see it the first time, and then you know, one of the things I make sure, it's been a bit of luck, because the winner has been completely random, but the winner on most of mine have come in the first month, right? And that has been pure luck. It hasn't been chosen, it's been pure luck. We've got the person in and had their pictures and then photograph picking up their winning picture.
Yeah, that's what you need to do,
very quickly. And that then just emphasizes the whole prize in the fact that you are legit to all these new people that probably haven't heard of you. that you are legit, and that, you know, next time you run this competition, somebody actually in your area, as Judith is a big one of, does get the prize. So, you know, that is a big one as well, as part of the marketing and so on. I think this is definitely an ongoing promotion that builds as you go. Like I said in my little thing, you know, my goal was to get out of Emma's Diary. My goal was to replace the sessions that we had from Emma's Diary with similar sessions. The fact that we now are getting slightly more and better spenders is a bonus. But also I'm not paying Emma's Diary. So I'm quids in, you know, I'm absolutely quids in.
Yeah. I mean, I've got, I'm still with Emma's Diary, and I've got data, and I get the pre-birth data.
Yeah.
So and my next, this week, hopefully, I was going to go through that and send this promotion to those people.
Yeah. But, you know, I think it's, you paid for their information, Steve. So you might as well try and get them in some way, whether it's through Emma's Diary or whether it's through your newborn promotion or whatever. But you've paid for that promotion, so you need to use it. Yeah.
I would even go so far back, Steve, as I would look at all your previous Emma's Diary data from the last couple of years. Because a lot of the younger generation these days, you know, they have a baby and within 2 years they've got another one. You know, I would even go as far as to putting all that into one database and sending an email, just saying, you know, something along the lines of, you know, the actual post that you've got on Facebook. Do you know anybody that's having a baby, or are you having a baby? Enter our free competition. You've already got the details, so it's not as if your data collection, all you're doing is getting them to enter a new competition and warming them leads back up.
But that comes from a newsletter more for me.
How do you stand legally on that? Because I was buying leads again a few years ago, and when GDPR came in, I was told that we could only use them once, that we couldn't, if they get back in touch with us, then we can put them on the database, but they have to choose to go on it. We couldn't use them a second time.
From my understanding, you have 2 years to buy purchase data. They tell you it's only one because they want to sell you more data in it again and again.
They told me that literally we could only use them once, one promotion.
Who
and then
was that?
Was it because of the change. Oh God, that bloody company down in Cornwall. I bought them years ago, and which worked fine, but I didn't really do it properly. To be fair, I was still teaching.
Yeah, well, they were buying, or they were selling you ex-Cherubs leads,
right?
which had a slightly tighter refrain on it then.
But it changed with the GDPR stuff coming in, because I got them the month before. I could use them as I wanted to, like in the past. You know, I used to use them 8 years ago, and then it just completely changed, and same price, so I just stopped at that point.
With GDPR,
go on.
With GDPR, if somebody is giving one person permission to use the leads, that permission doesn't transfer to a second person, does it?
No, you've got to be careful, but I think it's more on data that you've purchased since GDPR.
Okay.
You've got more flexibility because it was tighter on them signing GDPR forms, etc.
Yeah, makes sense.
The data that was out there before GDPR, you can use a little bit more fluidly, as long as you don't constantly flood them. With information week, month after month.
I think that's, you've hit the nail on the head there. Is if you are making a nuisance of yourself, then people are going to get on your case. But I mean, as soon as anybody, and it rarely happens, but as soon as anybody rings up or sends us an email saying, you know, please don't send us anymore, then we take them off the list. It's the same way as you get from Emma's Diary. You know, you get those every month. We get 1 or 2 that need to be taken off the list, because either they don't want to be contacted, or sadly their baby has passed away. You know, so you know, very careful about taking those off. But we've never had anybody, I don't think, that has rung up and been furious about the fact that because you know, let's face it. I mean, this morning when I came in, there was, I don't know, 30 emails that that I hadn't asked for. You know, I just go through, delete, until I find something that I think might be interesting. So. it's the equivalent, I suppose, of getting the rubbish mail through the letterbox, isn't it? That most of it goes in the bin, and you just pick and choose the bits that you want to keep.
I do find though that if you target an old piece of data with a specific promotion, they are more liable to say no, or maybe the odd one will cause you problems by saying, how did you get hold of it? Where did you get the data from, that sort of thing. Whereas if you send them a newsletter and you involve promotions in it, as well as what you've raised for charity and what you were doing, unicorn heads and different things like that, it gets lost in it, if you understand what I'm trying to say. And sometimes they signed up for a newsletter, not that they signed up for a promotion. So I think that, you know, maybe in these quiet times, a newsletter is a good thing to put together and just into everybody on your database, because there's going to be people that have been in for boudoir but didn't know you do dogs, and vice versa. And so I think that it's good. It's a good soft way of just rattling the cage to get some new people in, to be honest.
Listen, guys, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to run, but thank you, Alan. That's really nice.
No problem,
See you
Morag.
all.
It's nice to speak to you soon.
Yeah, take care. Yeah,
Bye,
bye-bye.
Morag.
Bye, Maura.
Bye.
I think we're nearly finished anyway, guys, aren't we?
Yeah. No, it's good. It's very good.
One of the first things I would do, Steve, is just time your competition's running, is just change your Facebook header.
Yeah.
Just make it. I mean, I'm looking at yours now. I mean, if you can just replace all your images with babies, just until after your competition, absolutely spot on, and then change it back.
Yeah. Right. That's me. I was going to go and put my feet up for an hour, but I suppose I'll have to go and do some work now.
It's dinner time.
It's good to chat to you all.
I think.
Yes,
Sorry.
thank you so much.
Oh, lunch. Sorry, lunchtime. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, dinner time. Dinner time.
Yeah, well, let's not go through that again.
No.
And then I've got a set of passports in at 1 o'clock, which is me brother's mother-in-law, and then 2 o'clock I'm finished. Phased return, you see.
Hang on a minute. Your brother's mother-in-law probably got COVID, so you're just going to go round in the circle again.
No, she hasn't got it. She's coming in with a mask on. She's fine.
That'd be a nice passport.
They'll say she's an optimist. She's an optimist, thinking she's going to need a passport.
No, it's actually for a disabled badge.
I always say, I thought perhaps it was just a passport to get out of, your
Sunderland.
area. Yes.
She lives in Gateshead. She's nowhere near Sunderland.
You need a passport to get out.
I tell you one thing, after the new restrictions tonight, we might all need passports to get out.
Oh, God, yeah.
I think they're going to start building walls around all these cities.
Do you know what the problem is? It's the bloody students. There's nearly 2,000 in Newcastle and Northumbria uni, which are very, very close to each other, have all tested positive. There was a woman
They're not spreading their seeds anymore. They're spreading COVID.
Yeah.
There was a woman on Facebook the other day saying she couldn't get into one of the supermarkets because all the students were in buying drink because they've all been given £50 vouchers for food for the local supermarkets. They're all buying drink. There's no toilet rolls left anywhere again.
That's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
But, after having it, I know what it's like.
Yeah, I can't imagine it's fun. So look, I'm going to leave you. If any questions, just fire them away at me or us. You know that we're here to help us. Although obviously this has been about what I do, it's not about what I do. It's more about helping you all run something along the lines of what I do, but to fit in with your own businesses. So I wish you all the best, and we'll catch up sometime soon.
Thank you so much,
Alan. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Bye.